Chapel International. Ano. Also for Aquabana, a poem to saying.
Obi Major Sumedasi, Mechiao, near Tifu, so Obi a happy new month. And you will be Yao Busumi.
Yes.
Minuina,
sure.
Actually. October is our month. And
powerful month.
We're excited. Yeah. In October.
Yeah. Legends are born in October.
That's what they say. Okay, see how October and TV me. But there are many great men and women that were born in October. So
in the month of October. Fantastic.
I strongly believe that we are going to make inroads. Yeah.
Meaning, sir, why NYAMEKYE and mainly we'll be talking about Experience 2024.
Yes,
I shall see next week. But I'm son of Mebahono. Why NYAMEKYE Menya studio and they was me take your opportunity to boost other questions. Number one, eba abatuo ho. Okay. Possible say Nyankopon timi yi kire ne nkofo obi a obewini. And you'll be a wontimi winning. Is it possible? You mean him say, oh, the prophetic anointing, and so is it possible? Say nyame timi yi bibi sa e de kire mo.
Oh, no, possible. You see, say yi kire. Say wenya ni so adi hunu adi a eda wenim.
Yes.
In fact, in the prophetic space, we have word of knowledge, word of wisdom, discernment of spirit, interpretations. Say of tongues and all of that as stipulated by Paul. But you can tap into the mind of God, or God can come to you and tell you, said, this is my will for the people. There is no dispute about that. There is no God can show people what his will or what his plan is for the greater good of the people. Joy now multimedia in the next 10 years there's another person going to be a CEO. So one of the things about God in a proper theological context is that he is all-knowing. And if God is all-knowing, he doesn't just know the present, he knows the future. God lives with God. There is nothing like past, present or future. God lives in what we call the collective now. The collective now is almost like an amalgamation of the past, the present, and the future. And sa kind of composite, and a money in his omniscience, that is his all-knowingness. And Sebio and Sana this year, wow party betuja afidi obidi. But Ansana mama no papa ebishia. Na oma obi no treni say ansa na be mujatoa na yemu na minimo. So God is saying that, you know what, I am omniscient. I knew when you're going to come. I know what you'll be doing, and I know when you will exit, because it's almost like a product life cycle. You are introduced, you mature, you grow, you mature, then you decline. And God knows all the stages of your life, from birth till you exit, from the cradle to the grave. God knows all of that. That question is a straight shooter. Does God know? Can God reveal it? Yes, he knows. Can God reveal it?
Yes.
Whenever you use the word can, then you are bringing into the equation the subject of ability. And he is more than able. There is nothing beyond the abilities of God. Of course, he is able to do all things, but does he do all things? He can do it, but will he do it? And see another thing. The willingness of God to move into something, or the unwillingness of God to get himself involved in something, does not mean that God cannot do it. And can God reveal? Yes, he can. Does God know who is going to be the president of the next president of the Fourth Republic? Yes, God knows. Is God mindful of this nation? Yes, God is. But that's also another conversation, whereby we will also let you understand that there is, in a theocratic environment, it is God that leads and it's God that appoints. In a democratic environment, God wills, but people choose. And so no angel is going to come and vote for somebody to be the president. It's the will of the people. And God will not subvert the will of the people. In the book of 1 Samuel, you read and you realize that Samuel ho no sesame odifo same ye hia ohene Yepesi to say a minor akan.
Yeah.
And God told Samuel that, you see, what they are asking for, these are the implications. And God gave them the implications, and they said, whether it's like whether we're going to pay the price for it or not, that is what we want. We also want to be like God said to them, you know what? Dear Umbefan so hin, Babe Famo Mama, Mama Bay and Kwamano, Basin, and Nom Somope. And God allowed the will of the people. Please interrogate the test. It was not in God's will that they will be away from his role. In those times, the prophets were the judges, the prophets were the leaders. So Samuel was the not only the premier prophet, but the commander-in-chief and the leader of the Israeli forces or the Jewish nation. And Uncle Fona Basenya said leadership leader. Oti osra ye hwe na osi efo bi so ye pe obi a ye betimi aye demonstration a kire no Samuel ye demonstration chair because our boss it is ye pe obi and so they enumerated all the things they were looking for in a leader. And so although it was so again sometimes the will of God will be at variance with the will of men or the will of the people. But if you have chosen democracy, it means that you have said to yourself, I want the will of the people to be held in high esteem. And on the 7th of December, for instance, angels will not come down and vote. You will go and vote for who you want to lead you. So that if they lead you right, you will be proud of your choice. If they don't lead you right, you'll be ashamed of your choice.
But no, my question there would be, so for say, God, okay, about the omniscience of God.
The omniscience
of God.
The omniscience, the omniscience is ever present.
Sure.
But omniscience is his all-knowingness.
All-knowingness. Good. But there's also the omnipotence.
The omnipotence of God is all-powerful.
All-powerful.
That's right.
If the will of God for the people any year, can't God then manipulate the people
or overthrow the will of the people and subvert his will on them? If God is going to subvert the will of the people or superimpose his will on the people, then the people or what the Homo sapiens in our realm will be absolved from anything called judgment. Because me umamenya de me pe na de wo pe na me ya edinti na orubu maten. Now, because there is a room for judgment, what you even those of you that are even atheists who do not have any theological inclinations, you have to get yourself to the place where you know that if you don't believe in God, you believe in karma. And so it's only karma you believe in, if I am sowing the wrong seeds, I'm going to reap it. And so if the wrong seeds are being sown by God, then why are you reaping it then? I mean, men should get to the place of responsibility in their realm. Please don't forget, I am a Christian. I'm a cleric, a Christian cleric. But of course, I have read almost everything that there is to read. But Obi, in this realm, the world has been given to the sons of men. Yang as I see, God created the earth, but we create our world. Okay, and so the world wherein we want to live, God will not create it. We have to create it. We have to create the peace we want. We have to create the development we want. We have to create the stability we want. We have to create the progress we want. We are responsible for the upward mobility, not only of our families individually, but as a collective, as a community, and as a nation. We are the people. We are responsible for all those things.
But are we to create our world according to the will of God? Because Jesus in the model prayer said, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
You see, that was a supplication, that was a prayer. And don't forget, that is a Christian prayer. And so if we are going to limit this conversation to a Christian conversation, I'll believe in what you're saying. But we are looking at it from a very general perspective. And you live in a democracy or in a republic that has Muslims, atheists, Buddhists, Hindus, all of that. And so I wouldn't want to narrow my argument just within the wheels or confines of the Christian faith. The American said, enipa ewo yen ebremu you are responsible for what happens in our world.
Okay.
If you are a Christian and you pray the model prayer, the template of prayer, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, that's a supplication that help us so that we'll be able to walk within the tenets of your will. But you also don't have to forget that it is the will of the people as a collective that shapes the society wherein they live. God will not come here to give us any other law apart from the law that, of course, we are going to enact for ourselves.
The voice of the people is the voice of God.
That had been a Latin phrase from of old. And so if we are going to go with his omniscience and his omnipotence, or all of them, what I want to say is onyaminim china.
Yes.
Onyaminim debia nemum no onyamim pia yesi yankosi ye adwuma adwuma den a ede be ko nyame pemu fortuna enti se nyame pese obi be ye omampani a eye obi asede se otutu na namon sede okontufuo etutu na ohwe na brabo na kwan eni ni suban eyie sede be ya emre so obedi pani e wo man mu a one ne ho ma asem two obenya oman no do nti oman no so be do no na obenya oman be boni chidom amane tumi aye enema also ye. And so those are some of the
but is it also possible say ade ba ko anyankopon nim no na sofo a ewo oman nim nyina ehun the different in the, for example on who will become president, you know, yenya different prophecies from different men of God who all claim say de nyankopon eyi akere won eno no esi den no eba ne sa.
I wish I could speak for the prophets. Unfortunately, Umbiam family saying spokesperson. So let me throw a very generic but general statement out there. God is not a confused God. God is not a confused God. And God is not the author of confusion.
Yeah.
I mean, I have heard and I have seen a lot of the people, of course, are prophesying or predicting or making statements, very bold and emphatic statements about their obedi or minus so and their oba yate bebre ewo from them said yosikan. Mamen can't seem way. There is no human being in this realm who knows everything about the will of God. In the let me not even speak for my head. Let me probably, am I free to quote scriptures?
Oh, you are.
In the book of 1 Corinthians chapter number 13, the verse number 9, Paul in his letter to the church in Corinth said, we see in part and we prophesy in part. Yehuna fafa ni shankom afafa sana Paul kai na de na Paul peso chire ni hu se obi betumi de nsa esi ne bo aka asem se te se de sebio oni nyame ne fa adwen e wo soro enye sa na twere ne tie. In fact, in New Testament theology, just as you are asking, we see in part. That's a Pauline note to the church. Again, if you read the book of Ezekiel, you'll find the wheels within the wheels, you'll find the four living creatures, and you find the Bible say omenin to say nipa, ne tiko to say eagle, ne nifa to say jata, ne to say ox. And so if that happens to be the case, it even means that wherever you stand determines the kind of angle you see about God. Enti obi ano ujina ne nifa so beka se me hu awrade ne nim te say jata. Obeka se me hu awrade ne nim te say ogwama. Me hu awrade ne nim te say okode. Me hu awrade ne nim te say nipa. So we see in part and we prophesy in part. That is one thing that I also want to say. But most importantly, I want to just establish that God is not the author of confusion. God is not confused. These are not statements that are being made as visions. These are statements that are being made as a prophecy. A prophecy in itself, in the original Hebrew rendition, is to speak out of inspiration. It has nothing to do with what you have seen or what you have heard.
That's prophecy.
Prophecy. To prophesy simply means to speak out of inspiration.
Inspiration from
God, inspiration from a deity. That is why I come for mission come. That is why Malam for mission come. It's like an inspiration from
a source.
From a source. from a spiritual realm. Okay, you can attribute it to the divine source or the demonic source, but those nuances I will have to leave it. But what I will say with regards to that is, so obi shen koma, we will not from where we are obi enu a adofoni etifo muting obi enu obetimi aka se de nipa ya o hye nkomo ni de we ne firi nyame na we ne firi nyame. You can't say that. There is nobody in this world that will be able to say this person has prophesied a firi nyame and firi nyame, especially if there are no doctrinal errors or there are no fundamental Christian infractions with regards to the prophetic word. The only time a prophecy can be judged is after the time that is given. You see? And he say Paul again, catch him say Samoko asori dem na ba ko hyen komo mo maka international judge prophecy. Just en mamonye confusion elho. But ohwe a trainer say sa obi begina se no obi begina no hyen komo Moses say and after the prophecy, the manifestation of the prophecy will rather determine who gave because at the end of the day,
yeah, that's true.
And whether the person is being inspired by probably Paul's to say it, whether the person is being inspired by whatever it is to say it, wherever you are, it will be very naive to sit back without looking through the lenses of the spirit yourself and saying say we was shankom to see the now and yes sanity obia to say the okay afa bi shankom we the could be come we the konifa the American say edu sa time na we are because we because we nyame so as empanya announcement no. So it is only after exactly it's only after that you'll be able to tell that this person that said this really spoke from the chambers of the Spirit of God.
The Spirit of God. Wow. But one kasan sono nyame enyi enchrew obi win, and I won't share that more humpaye.
I won't even say any of that. Unse mimi o chichini.
Yes.
Mimi michadi osukum. And me ye chreno enchrechrefo. And to say the okay, say nipa obe winning poor. My disposition had always been not to do individual prophecies. I mean, prophecy at the quabonti.
Yeah.
I have never been a believer of that. Say ebia wo show bi nkompo na nkomhye ne da bonti because nipa na ye ne nkomhye. Ti adeti na opese wi ase hu. I have never been a believer of that. Of course, I can tell you for a fact without any shadow of doubt that yenyina ye hu bi. Yenyina yeso ye da ibi. Yenyina wo bompaya utimi hunu bibi ana uti bibi. But menjin di say menya ho akonya
so de beto abonten
radia mamesa ahye me se maka me bisi a kire onti koka kire obi ana se koka kire ewia
ba nipa nyame so ne ho dan de waka a kire no
many obi ni nkomo yet because I believe that if you're a gatekeeper, yours is to pray for the nation and yours is to intercede for the people and for the nation. I am an intercessor. I lift up prayers. I pray for people. I pray for people. I pray for my nation because on my way penamiwo. On my BR citizenship and our residency Ghana pe enamity. Enti me pemi my ye. So I will pray for my nation. And my fervent prayer is that dear onyame no pe to say yesu kan so obedi o man so no eno na erade be ma ho kwan. Wow.
Mimusa Sasemi. I think it's a very important issue because of the multiplicity of prophecies, Abba.
Okay.
Which seem to conflict each other. What the potential of leaving people confused. Say, oh, especially for Christians.
That's right.
it need the potential of leaving people confused. In the Nipane call
it has
ballot booth ni muso okoto abakra. Charlie, it plays on his or her mind.
Well, I strongly believe, sir, we have to get to a place as a people whereby we become people of conviction.
Okay.
We should become people of conviction. We should not be swayed by anybody's agenda or motivated by anybody to do anything that is outside the realm of our conviction. Me sure say on Antiko booth no on the day of the elections. One kasa also de afanfani nyina nsem etun seniani na obisa on say omumuwan ene be serve me interest. Omumuwan ene be boa me nananum years to come obe odenioma be gu akwa mu se ebe boa me nchirima. I think those are things that also be kopo wa obisa unse yedi nkomosa ya na mempe national conversations a bother around a religious say undertone. A reason being that yet Dawson a chance a Christopher wa Muslimi for wa Nkofo etikroma and secular state. Ghana has never been a Christian state. We are a secular state. And me per se your conversations no should bother around what the people are there to offer. Na senkofo na omo ba no de no betumi aye aboa me nana no mwa ye nyuma aye. I think that should be it. And na say we Christonia and no kwasem say ye make for the Christian fraternity. The Bible says the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. And God. So you have to ask yourself, where is the Lord ordering my steps to? And who is the Lord asking me to support? I think that should be one kasa ujinabia. Any idea also. But minim say Ghana we've come too far. We've come too far as a nation. We've gone through our own ups and downs. And at this time, we should be looking more at and conform between and yet so much of their creed, creed or gender. That's we should go beyond that. We should go into the realm where we are checking competencies of people, the integrity of people, the commitment of people. And if we give our meager resources to people, are they going to manage it to help the generality of the people, or is just going to be for the benefit of a few? And say to me, as a people, we develop as a nation even faster than probably our natural pace would take us.
That's true. One thing that the church are under huge criticism for is illegal mining. And there are those who believe say the church probably could have done more to save our environment, because if you go by in population dynamics, which says 71% of us are Christians, then the church has an onerous responsibility, because it stands to reason say then maybe or more a year
71%
majority of them will be Christians.
If you look at it in that
of course.
simplistic
do you accept criticism on the church relative to illegal mining, Galamsey?
Thank you for bringing this up. First of all, let me say 71% of the population are Christians, or almost 71%. We should know say professing or practicing. And let me make it very clear. Somebody can profess Christianity without practicing Christianity. Because a Christian is the one that goes the way of the Christ. And the way of the Christ is empathy, is love, is forgiveness, all of that. And so if a Christian will be vindictive, is a professing Christian and not a practicing Christian. If a Christian, somebody says I'm a Christian, and the Christian is corrupt, it means that he is a professing Christian and not a practicing Christian. If somebody says that I am a Christian and the person is undermining the sovereignty or the integrity of the state, then the person is not a practicing Christian but a professing Christian. And now if you lump all of that together and you begin to say that because they are saying they are Christians, we should paint the Christian fraternity with that stroke or that brush to say that they are evil or they are conspirators against the nation. I will not accept that. I will not buy that, because the fact say obika say oye
Christo ni
say odi Christo ashedie eso. Sebio call school it may be our religion, no actually Christianity, for the last 20-30 years. And so we should get to that space where we think differently about that. Well, does the church have a role to play? Of course, because the church is a major player in nation building. There was a time, of course, if you read if you read The Prince, I don't know if you've read it before, but The Prince is a book that was written by Machiavelli. Niccolo Machiavelli wrote The Prince, and in some of the discourse of The Prince, he was talking about the state, religion and the state, or say the two states, the church and the state, and how sometimes you need to decouple them, but they are also intricately interwoven, such that the church happens to be a major player in nation building, and in the grand scheme of things, Asorino is a collection of the people who are in the greater society, who congregate probably to be given instructions and all of that. And so maybe where we can go and say be our churches need to do more education, because you are there to educate the people. You are there not only to motivate, because Sebio, some of the times and sometimes that's what we are saying, and that is a danger for Christianity now. We have a lot of preachers who are inspirational but not instructive. And we need to be able to marry both, where we are not just merchants of hope, but we are people that direct people on the way they should go. So we should give instruction, not only inspiration. Because if you inspire a fool, you've not made a wise man. And you've just created an inspired fool. Exactly the point. If you inspire a robber, you've just created an inspired robber. That's what it is. And so we need to come to the place where we instruct, and instruction will redirect and reorder the path of people. And so yes, the church can do more. Yes, the church can engage more. Yes, the church can lend a strong voice and say omaya yeweni na ye arable lands ni nyina say turning into galamsey sites a chine bi ba any bridge and ebebo oman no nsuo aye nom no, it will cost more to get it purified. Those are some of the things that or water bill why? Because Ghana Water Company will need to buy more chemicals, chlorine and other things, coagulants, also they will have to do all of that to be able to purify the water, and it's going to come back to haunt you as a consumer. Is something that is of national importance and interest. But that is a malam for any imam for our war masalachi and our war and kremush fushia demono also almost can say yes say or mine na dear legacy ni jamen chima sas na also sofoka sana yen chiradi usuku pomu also ye catch your students sana also we have to expose people to the dangers, because sometimes until you expose people to the potential danger or more create here, they will not know say bibi ba is soon be ba na oyene ene or how be amanye bi ba si etimi gina ebom kompon na ye bodawuru chairman science bibi say ba me assure so obi asinkete so odebe sanumem na why
can the church and also NYAMEKYE for example take the fight a notch higher by saying because our mining district in this country wako krobi to say wase kropon ana akwetia.
That's right.
Obi owo bia ni obi oye miner.
Okay.
Obi nim say oh we the concession ni oh we amna we no tumu gold oh we na oil including in sorry wo software that no. They know because at a communal level they know themselves. Can the church say okay wo galamsey anyway say wo ra sorry dan we mu a as long as we seek out the banner proceeds of illegal mining, we don't want to have anything to do with you. Taking that fight a notch higher. Bibi sabe to me abwa.
The church cannot take that position.
Adentia.
Say asorin nkase obi ba asoria yɛbɛka kyerɛ sɛ ebi amfa sɛ wo nam so illegal mining equity one member
oba o sika kra ye nye
but time na omoto offering no sɛ wonim omo a odi sika kra bɛsoma no na ono anto no odi soma obi so omfa nkotu mu money. I think we should look beyond that. You see, I want us to say more time kakra meet me akasa kakra.
Yes,
we seem to be peppering the cracks. We seem to be talking about the visible physical fruits, not the invisible spiritual roots. Or we seem to be talking about the visible physical fruits and not talk about the invisible roots that underlines what's going on. And there are some na mepachi obi. Abrante na okoshe pitimotu galamsey.
Yes.
Me sure say ade e man ne ka say mekwa ko galamsey. One, because obi ko buy ebeka chense sika wo. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, se ne nya ade no pese oye kro tena fie me ka chense onkope bere bi mo. Now tifia wa afo yesi unhu bia na. In a nutshell, what I'm saying is that for the first point I'm raising, in as much as we are condemning illegal mining, we have to look for what will stop illegal mining. And one of the things that will stop illegal mining is job creation.
Job creation.
Now, me sure say obi beka se fo asem pakodo. Enti se wa bana me adwuma ya me nko ngurem ana me nkɔhye peti mu mi so nkume me pa adwuma ye. Enti in as much as here condemning illegal mining no, yenye ne se besepani ko nya haban. Ye ntase ne benyansafo mu. Yenye ya adwen se asoman yempe illegal mining. Nimum about 60+% of the African population are under the ages of 25.
Yes.
And you a very teeming youth coming up. Now, sa youth na omobano. What is the hope for the Ghanaian youth? Now, sa Ghanaian youth no say only hope biya na okachire ni say anase adwuma biya no go biya no na okachire say ma ban no me ma onye illegal mining na into obet ontena se makomu kuna na debi. So this is where I am coming to. Artisanal mining and now say community mining and now nyoma na ekoso mining and yes say na shasi ache me yawo me wo swami.
Okay.
Me makwan bia na me komi krom mi friankase me ma mi friankase na me komi krom e me ekọ afuom e ma yekọ afuom a me ye noa akaw anase ye bo apesi di gu paso e ma ye nyina ye twa ehia edidi from kwansen krom na samri nsuo to ne ekodi agro wo nsuo ma baby asusuan fa bia onante wa na ohunu gold. Say galamsey no unim the full meaning, the real meaning.
Gather and sell.
Gather them and sell. Enti na ye eko gather. Nsuo to a ankase that those times me hunu gold pen afa ko fie ma me de ode ye kra me nim because na misua but ye pick ye gather ni etimi gather enti awo the dada na sa artisanal mining, community mining near there. Is it possible to say governments can get involved properly and to say the enamo kase ananko for suggest say ye empower your traditional rulers?
Yes.
And can it be a community so more mining or they will fail? It's a problem on so mutu ya no majana. You bet me a failing it back. You bet me a duaniana for you bet me a created the mindset say after every mining is done in an area there should be afforestation again. And also a drain sani money now. See nya started see a bodeuro ana ye team pinting kwa akachi nipa se galamsey amuyi munya Abraham rante na omo ba no omo ne adwuma bia ya sebio obemanager ne but enye sustainable number one. And a come any wood near come any bre ya. Into Begina ordinance says in Busse Fedi any wood dear, any affinam woman call Amamokume, Mekwakope, Mekonomy Nebia Mefa, Menyebiso Enti. We need to probably look at a more holistic approach of getting these things done. It being a government policy, the government having a proper direction. There should be a proper dialogue between traditional rulers and government because the land itself, traditional rulers need only Minerals Commission for Nyama and say say uhunu bibia de was asase nani oh hene no mind dia na mu dia asase na so dia
o mind dia
enti say o mind dia then the governments will always be blamed because they have a higher responsibility to safeguard what lies underneath. I have about 4 or 5 pointers. I think I'm even doing a literature on that. I'm going to do a publication on the impact of illegal mining on the national development, considering the sub-Saharan Africa generally, and what has been the best practice over the years. Ebinum literature, me review literature. Ebinum are of the opinion say, you see, government should allow, but you see chemicals are any hash. There review a lot of literature in that respect. Obi prefer different solutions. I want to localize the solutions that all of them are having, and I'm going to publish it. I think
that would be interesting. I would love to read that.
You have to.
I would love to read
because
that.
I don't want people to approach things of national importance with sentiments.
Purely on emotions.
It shouldn't be emotionally driven. It shouldn't be purely on sentiments. We have to be looking at logically, and most of the things should be backed by empirical data. We are destroying our lands, no doubt. Now our farmlands are being destroyed. Cocoa farmlands are being destroyed. Cassava farmlands are being destroyed. And Ghana, even our food security is under threat. We have to look at Galamsey as a matter of national security, not just as OB say as of national security. Because in no time, if the lands are no more arable, you can farm. You can do anything that is going to bring progress and prosperity to the nation. I believe that is what we should be considering mostly.
It's interesting. You see, NYAMEKYE or article. No,
I think it should be ready within the next 2 weeks.
Fantastic.
Proofreading business.
Fantastic.
Some
and then we can
some references.
We can get into it some more. Very, very interesting. But Yemra back to experience.
Yes, sir.
2024. Where did you get the inspiration from? Say your experience conference.
Experience conference me that's BMOB. Experience conference here. Conference say Yeshassia 20 officially 2015.
2015, okay.
Officially 2015. Okay. So about 9 years ago, the inspiration was I didn't know afimuni young gather religious people, young gather Christians. Na yen shiem paiboni nyamia sem tie kwanso. Na yeni Kristo emumpunimpu na yeni erade India Shia sa kwan so. Enti experience was a conference that was put together just to give people, as the word goes, an experience. They should experience the divine. They should experience nyame tumi, nyame ayaresa, nyame jie, nyame nkwaji odi menipa na base mu odi a odi jini pefri odonto die mu di ni si mapoma bia so ojini pefri oyini pefri sumina so de on si baby e kron sa die no enti na yes e be experience every year yi na otwe si ho asa na otwe no ye pese nipa ni erade bompunipu ye pese nipa enya an encounter with God, an encounter that will change their lives, that will give them a renewed sense of hope, a spiritual renewal time. Ebeboa omujumedia omudi as a people.
Oh, okay. It is so far Mayan for how many years?
Yeah, for 9 years. 2015
9
till
years.
This will be the 9th edition.
The 9th edition.
IAA experience. Now yenya a lot of guests for experience. Last year, for instance, some of the fathers of the land were there. I remember last year it was Dr. Mensa Otabi Oneshas and Reverend Steve Mensa Betwaso and Reverend Mama Makwi Betwaso and Reverend Ampia Kofi Betwaso and Reverend Fusuapia, Bishop Frank Betwaso and Archbishop
Duncan Williams,
Archbishop Ajinasari, and Sana Archbishop Duncan Williams
Well, I remember sa kwesiada na meba
Archbishop Duncan Williams kwesiada. Enti the one before that one was the one that I did with Pastor Benny Hinn and Reverend Eastwood Anaba and Pastor Jonathan Miller. Enti we've had subsequent ones, previous ones na a year extremely beautiful. A week-long program and you you start at 6:30.
6:30.
Now weekends now 8 a.m. It's usually a program that is put together just to renew renew the spiritual vibrancy of the people and help people accept. This year the theme is Jesus. That's just the theme.
Wow.
And we themed
Bengazi made the artwork not send over fatu we know so now for him.
The theme is Jesus. And the purpose, the reason why every year we do Jesus this, Jesus that. Like last year was Jesus the miracle worker.
Jesus the miracle worker.
But this year is just Jesus. Because we want people to appreciate that he doesn't only work miracles. He saves, he heals, he delivers. He is the way, he's the truth, he's the life, he is everything. He's all things to all men. He's the Alpha, he's the Omega, he's everything and all things to all men. And whatever you are expecting is the I am that I am. And he say opese oni Christo ebompunimpu ana oni ni die hyiemu bia experience conference is your go-to place. It's the best thing for you.
Yeah. And for more mutie no experience conference 2024. And me share artwork neswa this year me hu Reverend student naba ewo so. Na two na e ka ho no eye hwan mo enti Jonathan Miller and is it Diony Beats?
Diony
Bias. Okay, ono ye hwan?
Diony Bias a prophet.
Oh, okay.
He has a very strong prophetic ministry. He has been doing prophetic ministry to the nations for many years.
Oh, okay.
And he is a brother and friend of mine.
An American?
He is an American.
Okay.
He has a Hispanic roots. Bias.
Yeah.
But he's also an American.
Oh, okay.
And he's a good friend and good brother of mine. I actually and our friends on Sombra now. Emunumuni nyansa ni di enseme nyame di amano ono so famre nyame ma organa.
And Jonathan Miller
so an apostle. He operates in the apostolic grace. On the Waba experience, we come I think the fourth time our Waba experience.
Oh, okay, that's nice. And then the Papa himself,
Reverend Studanaba, is also featuring heavily.
Yeah.
He needs no introduction in Ghana. He's paid his dues. He's a great man by all standards, and we call him the Holy Ghost man. And he is coming with I believe he's coming with the impartations of the Spirit of God, and to lead us the way of the Spirit as well.
And Dr. Michael BOADI NYAMEKYE so.
On the oye unia penny oye omomuti omuboni nyame boni just your humble host. I strongly, and this year's experience, I believe that what is going to make it very unique is the multiplicity of grace or anointing that has been gathered on the program. And apart from that, we are spending a lot of time in praise and worship. And almost every top Ghanaian musician who is into the worship space is going to be there.
Wow.
So we are making it very heavy on the word, on prayer
and worship.
Word, worship, prayer. And ministrations as the Lord will lead. And I strongly believe that there is nowhere that the name of Jesus is mentioned that people remain the same. At the mention of his name, every knee bows and every tongue confesses that he is Lord. And so trying to say, if you lift me up, I'll draw all men to myself. And so it is our prayer and desire during this week. Of course, we've been lifting him up, but this week is set aside to lift him up so that he draws all men to himself.
Wow, that's fantastic. I shall say from the 6th of October
to the 13th.
To the 13th of October.
Yes, sir.
One interesting thing is that within that period, Sofo Ebedina Oda means it is a special week. It's a special week. And open to be
open to everybody.
Okay.
Atheists, Gnostics, theists, anybody, everybody that especially if you don't believe that there is any Jesus, that you are the one I want to invite. If you believe there is, you are the one I also want to invite, because he's going to show himself strong. And he'll prove himself that he is the same yesterday, today and forever.
Yes, that's what Destiny Arena.
I just in the School of Nuclear and Allied Sciences. Free transitions.
Ubehu and Udru the Maker's House, Chapel International signage ne bohogoi, and then you turn Ufri Hacho Bar, you turn left. And Ufri you turn right. Sovereignty will be there to worship. Hear the word.
Thank you for the honor done me. When I am done with my paper too, I'll share with you.
Fantastic.
And I'll be happy if
and then we'll review it extensively. Sure.
On your platform as well.
We'll do that.
Thank
we'll
you
do
so
that.
much, sir.
So for that's it. All the best.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Dr. Michael BOADI NYAMEKYE onone